Pilliavin, Rodin, and Pilliavin. Right. The background to this was the story of Kitty Genovese, who was stabbed while people watched and no one helped. An entire apartment block of people were able to see this. They saw the struggle. People didn't even call the police. And in fact, the killer left once and then came back. Um, no one went to help her. Some called the police. That was my mistake. But no one went to help her. Apparently, it was witnessed by 12 people. Um, but no one went to help this poor woman who was being stabbed in the street. Anyway, this brought up the whole idea of bystander behaviour, and sort of sense of diffusion of responsibility. That if there are more of you, you feel less responsible to have to do something. The idea that if you're in a crowd, you just think someone else will deal with that, and just keep on going. Um, so, and this kind of begs the question whether altruism really exists at all. I mean, when you think no one went to save her, that's not very nice. Anyway, so basically, the study was they find wanted to find out what caused people to help. So they wanted to find out whether the responsibility of the victim affected whether people helped, the race of the victim, the effects of a model uh, going to help affected how people respond, and they wanted to see the effect of the size of group, how that affected it. So the independent variables were the type of victim, drunk or ill, that matched with the responsibility of the victim. If they were drunk, if they're own fault, if they're ill, not so much. Then the total number of passages that helped. Um, all right, now race of the victim, black or white, was obviously the race of the victim. The presence of a model and whether they reacted early or late, that was to check the effect of modelling and the naturally varying number of bystanders present. Um, they also recorded for the dependent variable snake the time taken for the first passenger to react to offer help, the total number of passengers who did help in the end, the gender, race, and location of every helper, and the time taken for the first passenger to help after the model had reacted. Also, they measured the movement of any passengers out of the critical area into the adjacent area, which is considered withdrawing, although that's not a very good idea to put that as either a good efficacy or a bad efficacy. Because if you consider moving slightly further down the car as withdrawing from a situation, I don't think it is. Also, they recorded the gender, race, and location of every passenger in the critical area, and they recorded spontaneous comments made by passengers. In fact, sometimes they egged them on. Basically, they did 103 trials of the experiment, sorry, between the 59th Street and 125th Street stops, a 7.5 minute journey. Um, in the A and D trains, carriages of the train. Um, after the first 70 seconds of the journey, the victim would collapse, and then the Confederates would watch. as the train passed the first station, like 70 seconds after they left the last station, um, the victim staggered forward and collapsed. This is, of course, acting. Um, and then he lay on the floor looking at the ceiling. And then I just sort of waited, and the model helped him to his feet if no one helped by the end. But yeah, participants were 4,450 men and women, 45% white, 45% black, 55% white, my bad. And they were done between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. From the 15th of April to the 26th of June in 1968. Um, Findings were that people that appeared ill were more likely to receive help than those that appeared drunk, which is kind of understandable. And then, of the spontaneous helpers, most of them were male. Same race helping was more common, and that was particularly so in the case of drunk victims. Um, Also, the longer that the situation went on without someone helping, the less effect a model had, and the more likely that people just moved away from the situation. So the longer it took, the less likely people were to act, and the more likely they were to start talking about it. It's kind of strange. But then Pilliavin, Rodin, and Pilliavin got the trying to remember the correct term for it, the arousal cost reward model, which is this idea that you weigh up the costs and the benefits of helping, and then that's what makes you help. For example, if the person is drunk, there's more costs than there are benefits, really. So it kind of works out like that. They also suggested that seeing an emergency creates emotional arousal in the bystander, and this is particularly the case if someone can empathise with the victim, um, or if they're closer. And the arousal can be reduced by helping, getting help, leaving the scene, or rejecting the victim as undeserving of help, which isn't very nice. Those last couple, but yeah, that was a not very good Rodan, Pilliavin, Rodan, and Pilliavin, Rodan, and Pilliavin. So thanks.